When I came back in the office, I was shocked to learn that this weekend, the biggest story was frenzied social media rumors speculating whether Donald Trump had died. For the record, Donald Trump is very much alive, okay? And no, we like our presidents alive. Donald Trump is very much alive, and this whole crazy rumor started simply because Trump had 0 events on his schedule Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, and one of the only signs that he might still be around was music in the Rose Garden, which the White House confirmed was the president's music, which I gotta say is not the strongest proof of life. Yes, nurse, I do see that flat line, but the patient is clearly alive because his iPhone is playing Papa Loves Mambo. Papa Loves Mambo. Anyway.
Okay, let me just read this here. Donald Trump walked into an arena that holds 20,000 people and 19,999 people were so happy. And then there was Bill Burr's wife. Yeah, and I love how people are like, oh, how can you do that? It's like, well, he's racist. He likes to sort of plagiarize some Hitler stuff every once in a while. Like, what is surprising that a black woman wouldn't like him? I don't like the guy. My wife giving him the finger is what I love about my wife. Do you know where you stand with her? And you can't say that about a lot of people.
Picture this: you walk into a circus expecting clowns juggling pies, maybe a lion tamer, maybe even a guy swallowing swords, but the biggest clown in the room, he's not wearing face paint, living in the White House. That's the exact vibe when Stephen Colbert and Bill Burr teamed up to tear Trump apart. And let's get one thing straight, this wasn't some casual roast with playful jabs. Nope, this was demolition derby level comedy. Colbert came in with surgical precision, Burr came in swinging like a wrecking ball, and Trump, well, he ended up looking like a balloon. Someone let the air out of you. Thought Trump had skin thick enough to handle criticism. Think again. By the time Colbert and Burr were done, his ego was sliced, diced, and flattened thinner than dollar store tissue paper. And the best part, this takedown had the kind of punch that made reality TV look like a kid's cartoon. Stick around, because this isn't just comedy, it's a masterclass in how to completely dismantle the myth of Trump with nothing but words, wit, and a whole lot of laughter.
Like, you want to see a great case thing on, like, narcissism. Liberals are so stupid the way that they handle Trump. You should shut up. He's a narcissist. Neutral energy. I think he was a one-hit wonder, right? He wrote The Twist, and then that was it. He was on the casino circuit. You idiot liberals wrote him Twist again when you indicted him. And now he's a martyr.
And now he's
coming back, Jimmy.
The peppermint twist is back.
He's coming back. It's going to be great for comedy. He's coming back.
It always happens the same way. You think you've just seen the peak of ridiculousness, the craziest headline, the most absurd meltdown. You're convinced, okay, this is it, this is the final level of Trump chaos, there's no topping this one, and then like clockwork pops up again, arms waving, voice booming like a malfunctioning inflatable tube man outside a sketchy used car lot. Most politicians work overtime to avoid being turned into a late night punchline. They're careful, calculated, rehearsed. Trump, he's the complete opposite. He walks into a room and instantly hands comedians the setup, the punchline, and the encore, all gift-wrapped with a tacky gold-plated bow. It's almost impressive in its own twisted way. Imagine someone so desperate to be taken seriously that they accidentally script their own comedy special every time they speak. That's Trump in a nutshell, the politician who moonlights as every comedian's dream material.
Of the nuclear era, all presidents, I believe, have had too much power. But clearly, for Donald Trump, no amount of power is too much. Apparently, the next step in his White House remodel is going to be a skull-shaped castle. Because yesterday, Donald Trump made a hard right onto the fascism freeway, announcing that he will deploy National Guard troops to Chicago. Our brave... Yes, boo. Our brave...
Everyone knows the routine by now. Colbert steps onto the stage and immediately starts peeling back Trump's bravado, stripping away the tough guy act. And what does he reveal? Not some towering leader, not some mastermind, but basically a middle school kid shouting, "Hey, look at me, I'm special." The genius of Colbert isn't that he calls Trump ridiculous. Anyone can do that. The genius is that he proves it slowly and methodically, like a lawyer presenting evidence at the funniest courtroom trial you've ever seen. Hell, take one of those endless Trump bragging sessions, you know, the ones that ramble in circles like a GPS that lost its signal, and he untangles it word by word until all that's left is pure comedy. Suddenly you're not looking at a leader, you're looking at a man addicted to applause, obsessed with numbers, and more in love with his reflection than a teenager discovering Instagram filters for the first time.
Like, this guy's saying he's going to build a wall from California to like El Paso, Texas. Like, dude, I've done that drive. That's like a 2-day drive, 85 miles an hour. Like, like you're going to build a wall. You're really going to do this. Like, how much is this going to cost? How many times you going to go to Home Depot? Like, how big is this thing going to be? Look how long it took to build the Freedom Tower, and we wanted that. That took 15 years. Dude, by the time they build that thing, we're going to be the ones going over it.
Imagine someone standing up in public dead serious claiming they invented pizza and then demanding a standing ovation. That's the Trump vibe Colbert taps into. The beauty of it is Colbert doesn't even need to exaggerate, he just shines a spotlight on the contradictions. Trump brags about draining the swamp while simultaneously building luxury golf courses. In one, he calls himself a champion of the working class while looking like he's never held a hammer in his life unless it was gold-plated and hanging. In one of his hotels, Colbert takes those contradictions and slices them open with surgical wit, but then the tag team happens. Bill Burr enters the scene, and if Colbert is the scalpel, Burr is the sledgehammer. Burr doesn't bother with irony or delicate wordplay. He sees Trump's ego, those endless "look how great I am" parades, and he reacts like your brutally honest uncle at Thanksgiving, the kind of uncle who doesn't sugarcoat anything, just drops a loud "Are you kidding me?" this guy, and the crowd roars. Because Burr isn't dissecting's detonating.
He added insult to invasion.
Chicago is a hellhole right now.
How dare you, sir? Chicago is not a hellhole right now. Chicago is not a hellhole until February. Then it is a sub-zero windswept vista of frozen Lake Michigan, trudging out of your very affordable apartment to meet your improv friends at Twin Anchors for craft beer and a double cheeseburger.
Let's be brutally honest, if Trump were just some regular guy living in your neighborhood doing the same things he does on the national stage, nobody would crown him a leader. You'd avoid him in the grocery store, you'd steer your cart in the opposite direction. If you saw him coming down the aisle ranting about conspiracies, picking fights with strangers, and bragging about imaginary victories, that's where Bill Burr thrives, exposing the absurdity of pretending Trump's behavior is even remotely normal. Burr points out the simple truth: no one else could get away with the chaos Trump pulls off. Imagine your boss behaving like Trump, sending tantrum tweets at 3 a.m, firing employees like he's hosting a reality show, or demanding constant applause for doing the absolute bare minimum. Colbert makes you laugh by showing you how Trump's logic collapses under its own weight. Burr makes you laugh because he skips the logic altogether and just says what everyone else is secretly thinking. Put them together and you don't just get comedy, you get the perfect storm of satire and raw honesty.
I'll be honest with you, I can't believe Trump didn't win this thing like 4 months ago. I know that's weird for younger people to hear, but when I was a kid, if you were running for president and you got shot and you didn't die, that was the end of the election. There was nothing you could say. Everybody would just be like, this guy's the man. He is the king. I'll be honest with you, I think the number one reason like Trump survived is all those herky-jerky movements that he does. You just can't like nail the guy down. The guy is a lunatic. I mean, he literally got shot and immediately jumped back up and started yelling in the direction the bullets were coming from. That's not a safe.
Hey race, the thing about Trump, every scandal, every wild claim, every ridiculous feud, it's all pure comedy gold. Colbert sees the irony, Burr sees the insanity. Together they create something explosive. Colbert peels back the layers of contradictions until you see the emperor has no clothes. Burr stomps in right after and yells, not only is the emperor naked, but he's flexing in front of the mirror thinking he looks amazing. That's where the destruction begins. By the end, Trump isn't just roasted, reduced to such a sharp, obvious punchline that even his most loyal defenders can't ignore it. And the tragic comedy, Trump still acts surprised. He still can't believe people are laughing. He wanted to be the star of a serious drama. Instead, he's the main act in a comedy show he never asked to be in. And Colbert and Burr, they're just the headliners, making sure the audience gets their money's worth.
Double cheeseburger. Hellhole. Hellhole. Yesterday, 2 words. You.
You know what? You know what?
Two other words, Daytona Beach. Trump slandered on, Chicago is the murder capital of the world. Fun fact, no. According to the
What makes Colbert's takedowns cut so deep isn't just the humor, it's the receipts. Colbert doesn't just throw shade, he drags out a filing cabinet of contradictions, hypocrisies, and nonsense, then lays it all out like a teacher grading the worst essay in history. Imagine Trump handing in a 5-page report titled "Why I'm the Best," where every sentence just says tremendous and huge. Colbert flips through it, sighing loudly, circling every word with a big red pen, and by the end it's more comedy than critique. Take the obsession with crowd sizes. Any other politician would casually mention turnout once and move on, but not Trump. He clings to it like it's a matter of national security. Then there's the self-praise. Trump talks about himself the way people talk about superheroes. The man could trip over a rug and call it the most graceful stumble in history, unmatched. Nobody's ever done it better. Colbert doesn't even need to exaggerate, he just slows it down, repeats it back, and suddenly the entire room sees how absurd it really is.
Like, you want to see a great case thing on, like, narcissism. Liberals are so stupid the way that they handle Trump. You should shut up. He's a narcissist. Neutral energy. I think he was a one-hit wonder, right? He wrote The Twist, and then that was it. He was on the casino circuit. You idiot liberals wrote him Twist again when you indicted him. And now he's a martyr.
And now
he's coming back, Jimmy.
The peppermint twist is back.
He's coming back. It's going to be great for comedy. He's coming back.
And then it hits you, Trump isn't a world leader, he's his own hype man. Imagine someone tying their shoes and announcing it like it was a record-breaking Olympic achievement. That's Trump in a nutshell. Colbert loves poking at Trump's eye alone can fix it routine, that bizarre belief that one man can swoop in, solve every problem, and take all the credit like some off-brand superhero from a bad reality show. Except hey, race the twist, most of the problems he brags about fixing, he created them in the first place. Colbert doesn't even need to dig deep, the irony is right on the surface. He sets it up, pauses, and lets the audience connect the dots. That's surgical comedy. Then the camera swings to Bill Burr and the vibe completely shifts. Burr doesn't arrive with facts and timeline, she brings a flamethrower where Colbert carefully dissects. Burr just yells loud, raw, blunt, and brutally funny, and the reason it works because Trump himself isn't subtle, he's loud, chaotic, and absurd. So Burr meets chaos with chaos and the audience eats it up.
On Friday, Donald Trump posted, "I absolutely love that Colbert got fired. His talent was even less than his ratings." How dare you, sir? Would an untalented man be able to compose the following satirical witticism? Go f*** yourself.
Think of Trump as that coworker no one wants to sit with at lunch because you know he'll spend the entire time bragging about himself. That's the brilliance of Colbert and Burr. They're describing the same man, but from two totally different angles. Colbert frames Trump as a walking contradiction, a parody of power. Burr frames him as the neighbor from hell, the guy blasting noise at 3 a.m. and insisting everyone loves it. One uses a scalpel, the other uses a baseball bat, but together they create a perfect portrait of a man who wants to be treated like a king yet behaves like a contestant on a reality show who doesn't realize the cameras stopped rolling years ago, and that's where the destruction really happens. Colbert makes you laugh at the logic collapsing. Burr makes you laugh at the sheer spectacle. By the end, you don't see Trump as a leader anymore, you see him as a sitcom character who never got the memo the show's been canceled.
The Olympics, when we beat the Russian, buries that. Kurt Gibson's home run is a joke.
Right.
The Giants beating the undefeated Patriots, that's all a joke. Dude, the star of a reality show is going to run the country. The guy who decided if Bret Michaels or Cyndi Lauper would make a better CEO for a company that doesn't exist is going to be running stuff.
Hey race, the tragic irony of it all, Trump gives comedians endless material, every speech, every feud, every late-night Twitter rant. It's like handing over a script to Colbert and Burr. He's desperate for people to take him seriously, but everything about him, his words, his actions, even his mannerism screams eccentric billionaire auditioning for a sitcom role. Colbert handles it with surgical timing. He points out the logical cracks, highlights the contradictions, and lets the audience laugh at the absurdity. Burr takes a different route, bulldozes through the nonsense with raw, blunt honesty, where Colbert shows the flaws in the blueprint, Burr shows you the building collapsing in real time. Together they strip away the myth of Trump until all that's left is exactly what he is, a man who desperately craves applause, even if it's coming from people laughing at him. By the end, the illusion of Trump as an untouchable political figure isn't just dented, it's shattered, and all that remains is the punchline.
Dawn of the nuclear era, all presidents, I believe, have had too much power. But clearly, for Donald Trump, no amount of power is too much. Apparently, the next step in his White House remodel is going to be a skull-shaped castle. Because yesterday, Donald Trump made a hard right onto the fascism freeway, announcing that he will deploy National Guard troops to Chicago.
Have you been notified by Trump to interview Trump? Would you interview Trump?
No, and I wouldn't interview a Democrat either.
Yeah.
I don't want to know those people. My job is to make fun of them.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. The same thing with an award show. Why the fuck would you ever host an award show? Your job as a comic is to make fun of an award